communist Czechoslovakia. My grandparents saw a taste of the freedoms and the blessings that we have here in this country, and they wanted to make sure that I saw and understood that. So I traveled with them there every summer, 6, 8 weeks. I've waited in those bread lines. We're starting to see the empty shelves that I experienced then in communist Czechoslovakia in the 80s in America right now. And you look at my title, and that's what it is. I mean, we all knew this was coming, Seb. They all but have said it. The media did what they could to cover it up.
I speak the language fluently. I used to spend about 6 weeks to 2 months every summer growing up, back in what was then, communist Czechoslovakia from 1980 on with my grandfather.
Donald Trump Jr. just can't keep himself out of headlines for saying the dumbest things. This time, he's using his childhood vacations to a former communist country to talk about how badly Biden's America is doing. Yep, that's right. The former president's son claims that because he spent summers visiting his mother's family in Czechoslovakia as a kid, he is an authority on the living conditions there. I'm Caroline Johnson. Thanks for watching. Given Trump Jr.'s perspective as someone who, in his words, as a child traveled behind the Iron Curtain and saw real socialism, perhaps we should take him seriously. Although many are still waiting for him and everyone on the right to explain exactly what they think socialism is. Trump Jr.'s mother, Ivana Trump, grew up in Czechoslovakia before moving to the United States in the 1970s. Trump Jr. told Sebastian Gorka that his Czech grandparents wanted him to understand the, quote, freedoms and blessings we have here in the United States. His comments are in response to reports that have arisen that, due to rising food and gas prices, this year's Thanksgiving could be the most expensive holiday meal ever. Of course, rising prices are real issues millions of Americans are facing, and with the infrastructure bill stalling and losing ground every day in Congress, there are massive failures we can attribute to the Biden administration. But so far, Biden's policies have been in direct contrast to what the socialist left have been calling for. Things like improved infrastructure and climate policies that would lead to more expansive public transit and keeping protective things in place like the eviction moratorium, which would mean that Americans had more money to spend on essentials like food. But this isn't the first time Donald Trump Jr. has likened his vacations as a wealthy kid to a stereotypically dark childhood in the Soviet Union. In 2020 on Fox News, he used the same breadline anecdote to describe what life in the US might look like if Bernie Sanders won the Democratic presidential nomination. It's the laziest trick in the book, blaming socialism for every ill in a capitalist society, when in fact the lack of a robust security net in America is what is causing these burdens on us for essentials like food and transportation. People who actually grew up in the Soviet Union may well have had negative childhood experiences, as working class people in most nations do. But Trump Jr. needs to realize that manufacturing a memory of a breadline in the former USSR isn't quite the same thing. Thanks so much for watching. As always, you can follow me on all platforms at Caro Johnson 917.